Every brand owner dreams of finding an ad that keeps on printing sales and sales and sales every single day for months on end without interruption. And for years, we've had the answer to that. It was celebrity and influencer marketing. And it was the perfect strategy. You were leveraging someone's authority, someone's trust that they had built over the years, over the decades in some instances. And knowing this, big brands actually printed billions and billions of dollars, some of which built their entire reputation just by collaborating the right face. But in just a couple of years, we saw the rise and fall of influencer marketing. But why? You see, many big brands are moving away from the traditional way of advertising their products by just hijacking the authority of a very well-known person by going towards more cost-efficient, faster, and much more leveraged solutions. And in this video, I'll be breaking down the exact strategies that all of these brands are leveraging in the era of AI and how you can leverage these for your own brand as well. If you don't know me, my name is Omar. I'm the founder at Growth Labs, and we've been helping 6, 7, 8-figure brands, and I welcome you to the channel. Now let's get straight into it. Now, the explosive growth of influencer marketing can be explained by one thing. It was the gold rush and the quest to achieve as much mass market awareness as possible. And the easy solution to that was essentially going to someone that has millions and millions and millions of followers and just plugging your product in a way that seems authentic and a way that doesn't breach the trust that exists between the followers and the celebrity that you're actually working with. When this first started, this was new. Celebrities weren't used to being paid to promote a product, right? Through their socials, for example. So essentially when this started, it was so novel, it drove an insane amount of traffic and conversions to the brands that were leveraging this. And many e-commerce businesses saw amazing returns. However, at some point, things started to change just because it started being unaffordable for the most brands. You know, if you could afford to pay Kim Kardashian $2 million per post, then you didn't have an issue. But for all of the brands that weren't the biggest brands, they kind of got priced out. Think about Cristiano Ronaldo, Dwayne Johnson, all of these celebrities were charging an insane amount of money for one post. And so it was kind of like putting all of your eggs into one basket, into one post, and just praying that the conversions would just drop after the post was set live. And that wasn't an attractive business decision for a lot of brands and a lot of brand owners. The other thing that really didn't work and started the decline, the crash of this industry is the lack of authenticity and the breach of trust. When you have a celebrity that's posting every single week and you're just seeing 50 celebrities just promoting, you get desensitized. If your ad does not stick and if your ad is not relatable and doesn't hit the emotion, you're just noise. Similarly, in influencer marketing, if you're just paying a random celebrity and hoping that conversions will just drop from the sky, that's not how it works. And so that's why this industry kind of crashed, is because of the trust issue and the authenticity gap that was created. And this gap made customers very unqualified and very skeptical. And so at the end, brands were paying for mass awareness, and that's pretty much it. They weren't paying for conversions. And so once you understand that, the brands that were kind of smart, they just started running engagement campaigns or traffic campaigns. You would pay like cents compared to the millions, and you still get the mass awareness. And so that's what really started the pivot. Brands had to abandon the celebrities just because they were too expensive relative to the conversion rate. But that's when we saw a new opportunity. You see, at this point, brands realized that, hey, I don't have to go to Kim Kardashian. I have a pool of influencers that maybe have 10,000 followers to 100,000 or a couple 100,000 followers. These guys are my ideal magnet to my ideal customer. They own a very qualified audience that is very niche, that trusts them. They charge way less than your typical celebrity, and the conversion rate is actually better. And you can take a look at Daniel Wellington, for example. They arguably ran one of the best influencer marketing campaigns for the longest period of time, and that's how they were able to just scale and just be sold everywhere. That gave them so much awareness. Now, anything that goes up must come down, as we say. So the crash of the industry came for the same reasons that it did for the celebrity marketing. The first one is rising rates. A lot of these influencers just started noticing the power that they held over brands and the power that they held just by hosting and owning these audiences and these people that these brands wanted to target. And so the cost effectiveness of the model started to kind of buckle. And the second reason was the scalability and the management. You know, sending products to hundreds of influencers and just coordinating them and having them post on time and having them, do their job correctly and just managing the contracts and managing all of that it was a nightmare. And it wasn't as scalable as people would have wanted. And then the biggest thing is the usage rights. You know, when you're paying top dollar and the person tells you you can only use this for 3 months, that's a handicap. And I remember for one client, we had this UGC creator. She was a micro influencer, 100,000 followers. And what she did is she recorded this banger ad. It was an amazing ad. And we were scaling that ad for a 5x, 6x ROAS and spending some decent money on that specific ad. In the first few weeks of us running the ad and being really happy about the performance, my client told me, hey, I just need to make sure that you know this ad can only be used. We only have 3 months of usage rights. Otherwise, we have to pay again the creator. So essentially, you're receiving the end product, which is the video. You already paid for it, but every time you need to renew that, it's a nightmare, and you need to factor that into your budget. A lot of brands don't know about them when they get into influencer marketing, and they get kind of disappointed when they get hit with that line. So what's next? Celebrity ads, too expensive. You're not going to be paying hundreds of thousands per post. That's just not feasible for most brands. Influencer marketing and micro influencers have lost the relatability factor. First of all, they're becoming a lot less cost effective. And as of recording this video, we are on the bleeding edge of content innovation. But before I break down what's next, I want to invite you to sign up for my newsletter, where I'm going to show you these strategies that I've been using over the past 5 years to scale dozens and dozens of my clients' e-commerce stores. You'll find the link somewhere below this video. Let's get back to the video. I have 3 parts for you. The first one, it's obviously a mechanism that most of you are familiar with, and it's UGC, user-generated content. So UGC allows you to hire a specialized creator, essentially someone that fits the demographic of your ideal customer, essentially. And what you're going to be asking of them is recording a piece of content that feels authentic, that praises your product, and that makes the customer that's on the other side of the screen feel at ease and feel as though they're relating to the situation the UGC creator is portraying. And so here, follower count is irrelevant. You're securing the content forever. Essentially, you don't have any usage rights, and the fee is very attractive. And so what this does is it creates a stable channel where you can kind of hire as many creators as you want. Obviously, there's a lot of management that goes into it, and it can be a nightmare very, very quickly. And so it does not solve the logistical problem that you had with micro influencers, but it does solve the cost aspect. Now, the other solution, the second one, is AI creatives. We've all seen the videos on YouTube that talk about, hey, ChatGPT created my ads in 2 minutes. ChatGPT did this, did that. I'm of the opinion that the technology is not there yet. All of these videos that you see, take a template, upload a picture of your product, come up with a headline, and just have AI just mash up everything together. I think it goes against what marketing is at the moment, and it won't be able to produce scalable results. You might find one winner, of course. You might find 2 winners, right? But you're not going to be building your content machine off of ChatGPT or off of an AI that just does everything for you. And the beauty of the tech is that you can generate copies, variations, headlines, hooks, body copies at will with like infinite capabilities, right? You have leverage. What I like to say to my clients and what I like to say to all of you is that when you have a winning manual process, let's say you have a killer static design team that creates a static in 48 hours or 24 hours, and you infuse that with AI, it's only going to make the process better, right? Because it's already a working process. But if your operations are not good and you don't have a proven process to create good ads, AI will not save you. Look at Meta. They're introducing the tool, when you're editing the ads, where you can just upload the picture of your product and they'll do the background, they'll do everything, right? I mean, would you run these ads? No, of course not. So again, amazing tech, not quite there yet to fully rely on it. I think we're moving into that direction. I don't think we're quite there though. Now, the last part is what we call virtual influencers and AI avatars. Now, what this solution does is it takes the leverage that AI has. It eliminates the human headaches, right? Managing humans, dealing with human problems, someone having a breakdown, and it gives you a solution that is scalable, that has a very attractive cost efficiency, and that allows you to essentially do whatever you want. Now, similarly to the AI creatives, this will not save your business. Like if you don't have a proven concept of creating a VSL, for example, or an AI video about a founder that's speaking, or just coming up with scripts, hooks, body copies, and call to actions that are coherent with who your customer is, that's not going to save your business, right? The tech will not save your business. It will only amplify what you get. And so to give you a clear example of what we do personally at Overgrowth Labs to leverage AI, we use AI to leverage the research part. You know, back in the days when I used to do the research myself for my clients, I would actually go on so many websites, on so many resources and sources online to just go and read everything that I can on the customer, on the product, on the industry to make me a better advertiser for that business, right? I would do that manually. That was super time consuming. Now with AI, you can analyze hundreds of millions of data points. You can combine so many data points and really enrich the learnings that you have. Let's say you bring in your Google Analytics data. So that's a quantitative data source. And then you have your reviews, for example, where you do positive and negative sentiment analysis. So essentially analyzing reviews that have all the nuggets in them, combine them with your Google Analytics reports, combine it with the customer research that you've done manually, combine it with the deep research that some AI gave you. And now you have a super report that is going to give you exactly who your customer is. And you can break it down based on awareness level, sophistication level, and you can do so much more. And it takes you literally like a day or two max, where it takes you a week of actual research, like sitting down for hours and reading 5 years ago. Now you can infuse your process with leverage. And so we also have frameworks to produce hooks, body copies, call to actions, all of that at scale and at will. And you combine that with a winning team of designers and a winning strategist, someone who understands marketing. And now we have a winning team. That's how we use AI. And I think that's the power of AI today, is in really understanding who your customer is. The war that is fought today is the war of unlocking the buyer brain. And you do that by understanding your customer better than your competitor. Okay, that's how you're able to achieve a $30 CAC and they're stuck at 70. That's how you do it. It's by giving Meta the amount of creatives it needs with the diversity of angles that it needs. We saw that with Andromeda, and really combining that and doing more than your competitors because you're using AI efficiently and you're producing ads that are going to resonate with your customer. Remember, ads are only the distribution mechanism. Okay, they're the vehicle that distributes the message inside the ad. If you don't know how to make ads, AI will not save you. If you do know how to make ads, AI will amplify what you do, and it'll amplify it in a good way. While AI is still new for ads, I think that we all must learn it, obviously, learn how to use it. And we need to adapt as marketers, brand owners. We need to make sure that we're at the forefront of this wave and that we're riding it and just capitalizing on it as much as we can. So hopefully you've enjoyed this video. Hit the subscribe button if you did. Let me know in the comments what type of content you want to see in the future. Super open to ideas. Like, comment, subscribe. I'm not used to saying these things, but hey, we're growing and it's a pleasure to have you with us. So if you're an e-commerce founder that's making at least $30,000 to $40,000 per month and you want to scale your brand to the next level, click on the first link in the description. It'll show you a scheduling page, book a call. You'll be speaking with me. We'll see if we're a great fit to work together. Apart from that, I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.